We're going live. We're talking health, nature, spirit, and I threw in connection because I think in order to be healthy, you need that connection to nature and spirit. That's my personal perspective, and I'm open to others. We're going to get present first before we start talking, and Abdul in Costa Rica is going to lead the way.
Okay, find your center. Identify the breath as it's going in and out of your nose. Identify this moving air, this gift of life. And allow your eyes just to be looking through the center of your eyes, the third eye. Feel your feet as it is supporting you in your chair. Relax your shoulders and just breathe normally. Recognize the presence of your spinal column and allow your focus to be there as you feel more and more centered. Allow your awareness to release all ideas, all concepts. Just say to yourself, I know nothing. Bring a smile to your face as you become more and more present to the now. So it is.
Beautiful. Thank you, Abdul.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Just going to stay here and we'll telepathically communicate. It's in the experience, right? Like I feel everything is just perfectly fine. It's expanding joyfully, and I love these moments when it's like this, and I'm so glad that I discovered spirit again. Cleared away the cobwebs and the fog and the everything that was clouding my view and my senses. And really, I think that's for me, that was what disease was and disorder. Was how far removed I was for what was true.
I think it can be easily attained when you've done the work of, as you say, clearing those cobwebs. If you've already kind of done a lot of that clearing away of that conditioning and those layers of whatever's covering up that truth inside, then a little quick tune up like that, a little quick recentering, and boom, you're like, I don't even want to talk, really. I'm forcing myself to talk. I'm in such a good place after that, Abdul. Thank you. But I think for some, and even for me at times, when there's deeper layers of cobwebs, when there's more to be removed, then it takes more effort, right, to get through. And that's when I feel nature can be the most beneficial, or when nature is almost unnecessary. I think if you're looking to connect with yourself and with the spirit that's inside of you, doing it in an environment that supports that makes it that much easier. And so going to nature when you're trying to recenter yourself and reconnect to your own truth is a beautiful tool.
I think for me, what I notice is whenever I go somewhere nature-wise, especially into rainforest up here, it's like the path of least resistance, because it's as soon as you go into somewhere of nature or somewhere that's beautiful, it's like everything drops away, and there's just no. It it just opens you up. Well, it opens me up. Everyone's different, I suppose. So how you feel is yours, but it's like it opens your heart. It makes me feel more vulnerable and more willing, I guess, is the word I'm thinking of. It takes away all of those things that all of those little barriers that you put into place, those little shields or those little things that we think are necessary to protect ourselves, when it's all really just a little bit of a farce, isn't it? It's something we tell ourselves, that we need to do all of these things to be able to move through the world. It tells you a completely different story, and it's like, it's not necessary to do all of those things.
And what was your experience, Abdul?
I am the experience. That's my agreement. Because spirit is my favorite subject, I'm really like feeling blessed, especially this week, being able to provide the Kriya Yoga course. Today being day 4, and so 4 out of 5. You just imagine where I am. I'm just ready for those that are ready, ready for the readiness. And that's been my responsibility. And there's just nothing like life when you're able to be that bridge, And so I just accept the responsibility. You can't explain it, really. You can just exemplify it. And so when I looked around today and I knew that I would be able to show up, I just came to share. Share the love,
Well, really glad that you could join us. And I feel like what you just, like, we're all just expressing, in the sense of we're almost forcing ourselves to talk about this, because it is the beingness, it is this experience, and it's glorious, right? I now recognize, looking back over my life, the times when people that were very, in spirit, like in this zone, might have looked at me with deep love, right? Or a smile on their face, just going, she'll get it one day.
Come and get it.
And it is that I get that now, because I have those experiences where I just look at somebody as they're in their situation, or they're in the drama of their situation, or the factual, habits, the fact and things like that. And I just think, oh, how beautiful. I was there too once. You'll find your way. It's the journey. It's a beautiful, beautiful journey to recognize we're always connected. It's just allowing ourselves to receive that. So thanks again for showing up and being the bridge.
At your service.
We actually can just go and zen out here and be blissed and end this conversation, because that's where we really want to all be.
Mm-hmm.
There's something magical that happens when you're connecting with other beings that are connected to themselves, and when you're connected to yourself, you're centered, you're in your heart, you're connected to your source, your higher self, whatever you want to say, and then you gather with others, and everyone is in their center and connected to source, and then there's it's like 1 + 1 = 1,000. There's this multiplication effect that happen when beings that are connected to themselves or in their truth gather. That's uncalculable. I mean, that's what I'm feeling right now, just from sitting here with you three. And there's no time or space. We're just connected in this quantum field. And I really feel the multiplication effect of us being together like this. Like I've said, I'm having to force myself to talk because I just feel so great. And so I thank you, because I recognize that it's us doing that.
I apologize.
That's a, I mean, it's funny that you said that. I think I can admit that I'm sure there are times where I've gone back into the habits as I've been learning because I felt uncomfortable that other people don't feel this connection. You know, like I've 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 learned now to be okay with it. I can see in the past though, I would give up the connection to be in the group or
Yeah.
to be in the conversation, right? Instead of just being zenned out.
I think that's a great gift, and it's part of what we may have come here to do, just to hold our frequency, hold our space, even no matter what environment we're in. To just and it is I understand what you're saying, Jacqueline, because there is a time where like I'm holding my space and I'm in my thing and I don't feel that connection with the crowd or the people that I'm with, and there can be a loneliness even or a disconnect, but I've kind of learned to work through that, and I'm enjoying being myself, even though I may not be as comfortable in different environments as I used to, because I used to just be like a chameleon, and I just attune to whatever environment I was in, and I could do that. But then after a while, I'm not being myself, and I got tired of that. So then I started being myself everywhere, but then that connection isn't always there with the people around me. And so I've let go of going to a lot of places or hanging around with a lot of people because I just don't feel it. Um, but I think there's a challenge there, or there's a benefit there of just holding your space no matter what environment you're in, because you affect the space you're in. The space you're in affects you, but you are also, there's an exchange happening, and so you can actually uplift your environment by, if you hold your frequency.
That is
I'm ha-
the challenge, to accept the opportunity. I think we're all speaking about the opportunity to be and to have the courage to be the love
Yeah.
in the space. So because we're on a planet of forgetfulness, we tend to forget why we're there. You know, we're there to be an example of that light, of that love.
Mhm.
And it takes courage to stay there. True empathy is that holding that space and bringing it up into you. So you transmute everything that is not of that. And so it's an opportunity, an open port to unity and the other aspects of yourself, because everyone is you. They need the example. They need the example. And I don't say in the sense of needing it in order to survive, but it's like needing it to know again, to remember. How can they remember if they don't see it in another aspect of themselves? The possibility. And so that's the charge that we have when we start to see what it's like to be aware, to be awake. You start seeing a whole lot of things, and okay, what do I do with all this awareness? You end up being more compassionate and more understanding that there are no victims, only volunteers. And so when you see what you define as other, see the opportunity, because in reality it's just another experience. And the only way you recognize it as other is because at some point you were there. And so therefore you change your reception of it to gratitude, because then you can be grateful, because it's the only way you're going to see the color of your ascension. And so how do you repay it? By exemplifying it.
That sounds so simple. It's like, hey, this is the game. You're going to have an experience. Okay, then you're going to get through it. And then you're going to be the example of coming through the experience. And heck, that's all it is. So
Well, and actually,
so someone else can follow their path and get to their light. And I mean, hey, that book is only going to be one pager.
right, because you wrote the script. Accept the responsibility. You know what I'm saying? You know, once you accept the responsibility,
yeah,
you know, for you being where you are, and all everyone else, as I said before, my students now, from day one, it's just this big gratitude, because I'm aware at one point that I was on the other side. And so it's karma, it's the wheel. So now it's my turn to remind them. So there's no, like I'm this, no, it's just an exchange, the opportunity to become more, because we all have a responsibility. There are people here that can only hear us, can only see our vibration. And so you can shout until you're blue in the face, to somebody, and they just can't hear you, because it's not for you. You are just the messenger. So you bring it to the door, and you let somebody else trust that someone else gonna bring it in. Another day, should another day come, and if not, it's gonna be fine. Either way,
I was thinking of what you were saying, Abdul, where you greet everyone as you know that they are, that they're God or creator or spirit, however whatever word you want to call them. And I was thinking about my experiences and just reflecting on the times when I've not seen people in that way, or had experiences in that way, where it's been like a something that has felt like it's at me rather than for me. And I was thinking about how you can perceive people as like they're doing something terrible, they're wrong, or it's not to my benefit, or not making me comfortable. And I was thinking about the reverse of that, where those people are, for whatever experience that they're going through, whatever the story they're telling themselves, but they are also teaching me to remember that I am also spirit, and that I can forget that. You can walk around and tell yourself, you go like, this person is God, so I'll meet them as God. But and it can be a headspace thing, it's a thinking thing. But then when you're not feeling that you are also God and creator, there is that disconnect. And I was just reflecting on those times when I've done that, where I've kind of gone, I don't like the way these people are behaving, I don't like this, I don't like that. And yet if I open myself up to it, then they are also showing me and reminding me who I am as well. The part, when I'm forgetting who I am. So yeah, I was just enjoying that little thought in my head while you were talking. So thank you.
It's like
The
Greg,
practice.
one thing to say,
Yes.
just that I was just going to say, like, it's like Greg says, it's how honest one can be with oneself, right? Because the more honest we can be about our own triggers, our own responses, our own reactions, and we realize it is our story, it's our journey, and everything is fine. We just have to release, let go, just like the breath in and out, and experience it, and release and move back into that beautiful presence that is always present. It's only us that seems to separate from that, correct?
Amen. It's the human mind likes to judge and project. So the practice in yoga is, when you first see another soul, is to say, Namaste. You salute the highest in them. So when you do this, every soul that you see, if you practice seeing them there, and then if they come into your space, they will show you where they are. But you have already practiced seeing them for who they truly are. Everything else is just going to be an experience based on the decisions they've made, the choices they've made that brought them to that moment. And every little bit of work that you have done that allow you the revelation that things are different, these are the gifts that you can offer, but with permission. You still need their conscious permission to want to change.
And if they don't grant permission,
It is what it is.
You allow them their experience. It's like, I think somebody said earlier, wherever you are, that's of your making, right? Wherever you are in your life, it's you're there by choice, through your thoughts, your actions, your feelings. It brought you there. And so it's not for us to judge somebody else where they are, They're there because they're there, and it's really up to us to allow them that experience, because somehow they chose it, consciously or unconsciously. They chose the experience that they're going through. I think it's best to be the example, to be in your truth and in your heart, and it's somebody I was listening to a podcast recently, and the guy said, I decided a long time ago to stop being a tugboat and start being a lighthouse, because I can guide a lot of people by being a lighthouse, but I can only do one at a time by being a tugboat, and that's a lot of energy. And so allowing people to be where they're at while you just hold your space is way more, it's less energy, it's less wasted energy, and it's more effective. And you get to be that example while allowing people the experiences that they've already chosen. It can be hard, though, to watch somebody suffer, to watch somebody self-destruct, to watch somebody do things that aren't healthy, or what we would judge as healthy, but it's people's choices sometimes. Bringing people in nature is always a good start, though. If we circle back to our topic here, just being in that environment, just being in nature does a lot of work. Nature will do most of the work for you. Just taking people into nature and doing, whether it's forest baths or swimming in the ocean or in a lake or a river or mountains or streams, any nature, right? It could be a park if you're living in a city. Just sitting under a tree can be very healing, Nature is the best healer. We are nature, nature is us and we are it, and it's a part of us that hasn't forgotten itself. And Mother Earth knows herself very well, and to sit in her glory, I want to say glory, I don't know why, to sit in her energy, to be in nature and to witness that glory that is nature, that is Mother Earth, calls you home in a sense. And then it's up to you to listen, follow your intuition.
I feel that's where most people are heading right now. Like the world as a consensus is heading back to the bridge. As you sort of said, you created that bridge. I was saying it's like the bridge between the native original people all around the world that have got, history of thousands and thousands of years with the what we now call the Europeans that invaded everywhere. Right? It's the balance between nature and technology, because this is lovely. This is technology that's bringing us together. We are not all sitting in the forest in a circle. So this is a new experience, because spirit is still with us wherever we are. And I feel like this is what we're all learning to navigate in a new way, like discovering what feels true for us. And we're going to define new ways of being beyond our imagination. I can see that smile. There you go. Giggle. What's coming in?
I'm just, the journey without the distance. What I offered today, when we think about our nature, was the recognition of this air that goes in and out of our nose. This constant life-giving force that is often disregarded, taken for granted, not being appreciated. Not in the sense that it can take the appreciation and do anything with it, but it would only appreciate, which means become more of an experience for you and allow you to receive the benefits and blessings that comes with that. So we don't have to go in a temporary nature, because when we think about nature as it's defined, it's always changing. It's ever evolving. However, the spirit that nurtures you, that nourishes you 24/7 from beginning to end is your nature. Because without you having this bit of nature, your body will fall to the ground without fail. You know what I'm saying? So this, to allow some time each day, even when you first open your eyes, to recognize it. This will expand your consciousness all throughout the day. Every time you put a little bit of attention on this, then everything you need, because look where it's located, where it goes into, right in your face. And how many things are always in your face and you don't see it for what it is? That's the nature of love. The love that you are and the love that you're becoming. It's a constant, and it's always there to show you how to be it. So challenge your mind. Say, how can I be like this breath? Your salvation on this earth comes from your interaction with yourself, your brother, your souls. Every soul is a solution, a healing opportunity for you. So when it comes into your space, you recognize the highest in them. The highest in them is the breath. They're doing the same thing that you're doing, just expressing it in another experience. So there's no difference between you and that other soul. Allow that to bring you joy and gratitude.
Okay, so at the moment, what came to my mind is all the people that are paying attention to what's going on in the regular news feed. And I'm like, and so say that again, I'm supposed to see the other person as me?
Exactly.
So for all those people that are throwing whatever at either of the candidates in the USA, now we're saying, hey, that's really them?
Allow your awareness to know that words are just illusions of illusions. Therefore, they're twice removed from reality. Words are just illusions of illusions. Therefore, they're twice removed from reality. So therefore, they're just being an experience, to be or not to be. But they allow us to see where we are. And so we be sucked in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that because I'm just giggling at the movie?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because again, they're not doing anything, they're really not doing anything extraordinary.
Right.
Because it's, again, either way, whatever happens, it's going to be an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And how many experiences have we survived so far? The human being is the most adaptable being on the planet. And there's no new idea. We been doing this to ourselves as human beings forever. So if somebody wants to do it again,
That's okay.
it already happened. You know what I'm saying? However, the light of God never fails. You can watch the movie, or you can trust the power that you have to be an example for change.
So I was going to ask a clarifying question for those that are listening. So you said there's nothing new. So I would concur that the infinite possibilities in the universe, they're all created. you know, in that sense, that there's infinite amount of possibilities for each of us, yet where we step to embrace them or experience them is beyond our imagination. It's beyond what my movie habits have taught me. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. However, it's within your imagination. It's not beyond your imagination.
It's within my imagination that I'm imagining it's beyond my imagination. Got it. Okay.
Exactly.
The way I see it is that all is already created on a certain level. Everything exists already. All information is already there. When he says there's no new information, it's because it's already there. It's all been created, and we have access based on, that's in my belief, based on our frequency, based on our level of consciousness. We have access to X amount of information within that realm of consciousness. But as you elevate your consciousness, or expand your consciousness, whatever way you want to look at it, then you become you have access to more information. Your awareness grows. So you go from being aware of X amount of information to being aware of more information based on your own personal expansion, your own personal growth, evolution in consciousness. That's how I see it. And so looking at people around me and there's no hierarchy here. It's hard to speak these words without sounding like it's hierarchical, because it's not. It's really not. It's just all just experiences, and there's not one higher than another. They're all just experiences. But it's almost like looking back and seeing seeing where I was. I used to have those experiences. I used to be in that place, and then I can decide I don't want to experience that anymore. I'm in this place now, but I can hold space for people to walk out of there if they choose. But in the sense, I guess the point at the beginning was that all information is already created. It's already there. All experiences are already created and they're already there. And it's for us to step into them. It's for us to walk into them, or to pull them into us, whatever way you want to look at it. We have access to all.
The challenge is to not delegitimize who you're being. You're a legitimate power. At any given moment, you're 100 degrees. You're 98.7 every given day. And, you can walk into cold water and forget that you are 100 degrees. But if you focus on the fact that you're 100 degrees, then your 100 degrees will warm that water.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is with your energetic power as well. It's the unseen that is the most powerful. And so the willingness to be the light, to be that, because everything else is still noise. It's just as legit as you. It's no more real than the reality of who you are, who you're being. So it's not like you're going to get caught up in that soup. No, we have responsibility as, light beings, light workers, to hold that light. And when you start seeing these little subtle changes and say, how did that happen? That's how we did. We did that. So keep doing what we're doing to be the light, and trust that our planetary partners are doing their part as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just because this other stuff is in our face all the time doesn't mean that it's any more powerful than us. And it's all about experience, plain and simple, without a judgment, one way or the other. It's going to be an experience. and we only want to be here for a certain amount of time. The experience, and I say, it's not the information, it's the fact that this already happened. We're not, and you can't think about anything on this planet that hasn't happened already. We are right now in the process of duplicating our own power, and we call it artificial intelligence. Figure that. You know, we call it the real intelligence, our ability to manifest things. We call it artificial. What is that agenda about? So, as was mentioned earlier, yeah, we should just sit here and telepathically communicate. That's a possibility. It ain't a joke. You know what I'm saying? It's a real thing. So let's, devote our physicalness to using every part of ourselves, even if in order to be more aware of it, we have to increase the amount of brain cells that we put in play. And that's the purpose of meditation. What you focus on expands. Every time you look between the third eye, you activate the brain cells through that pineal. And so then more brain cells go into play that give you access to information that'll be necessary when it's necessary. Because information, and in the words of those of us that have the benefit of seeing how this scheme was developed using English words, the word itself, information, it allows you to be information aligned, gives you access to your own alignment. So the language in itself is designed to lie to you. It's just illusions of illusions twice removed from reality. So trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yourself. Because all the books that might be on your shelf, that requires time. Every time, if you try to think and remember what chapter it was no, you have to activate them brain cells. And wherever that information is in the universe, from if Jacqueline has it, if Tanya has it, boom, click, there it is.
Well, I just want to give a quick little example of when you say accessing that information in practical terms here. So yesterday morning, I was heading out to, I was heading out an appointment. And as the process of where I was going, all of a sudden I noticed there were 3 UPS trucks in a parking lot. And I go, oh, and I whirled in because I've had a UPS package go missing. It was the 3rd time the delivery was delivered to the wrong part. And at first I thought it was I was like, my guy's probably off for the summer. But to register complaint online or on the phone, takes so much frigging time. So it was literally that I had a tuned into spirit first thing in the morning, felt all powerful, in that sense of who am I being? And then I see these trucks and I go, and I whip over and I go, hey, do any of you guys, do my area? And they go, no, but explained that my guy has a back issue. He's out. So I gave him my name, my number. He goes, I'll tell the supervisor to tell the guy that's been delivering in the wrong place. Because if he delivers next week, he'll deliver to the right one. And I was like, that was so much more personal. It was beyond my comprehension that I could have rectified or remedied the situation like that. And then I had the thought, I was like, oh, I got to get to where I'm going. And then it was like, no, just quickly go into the grocery store. And I'm like, but I don't really need anything. But then when I went, most of the meat was on 50% off. So I just went and stocked up, like, whatever it was, everything for my freezer. And then it was like, oh, you know what? And go to the bank. And I walked in, there's nobody in the bank. And I did that. Like, it was all done in like 15 minutes, all these tasks that other times you're standing and waiting in line, and you're like, to me, that's the practical point, is when I notice when I really make sure that I'm present, like we were when the call started, that sense of anything is possible, and it works to my favor. But it's not like I'm looking for it, like it's gonna happen. You just, I'm skipping through my life, or in that sense, and it just reveals itself. And kind of like walking through the forest in nature, and then you discover the energy of grandmother pine, or it's the adventure. It's the adventure of the experience. And I guess that's kind of maybe what kids feel like too, like when they're playing video games, right? They're in an experience and they want to do it again, and it seems so real to them. And now we're actually playing it in a more wide awake way.
Absolutely. The closer you look at what's going on, the more you see it's more of the same. And for us to be able to trust in the synchronicities. So that's really what your experience was, Jacqueline. You had the thought, you put it out in the universe, and boom, there's this bouquet of UPS trucks. And in that courageousness, because you got to be brave enough to go, instead of frustrated and pissed off, you could have looked at him and said, got mad that there's 3 of them and you still didn't get your package. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, really be willing to start new every day.
Mm-hmm.
Begin anew. In that is the opportunity,
So let's finish off on that tonight, is this afternoon, this morning, wherever everybody is, right? In that this might be the ending, but it's actually the beginning. And we're all starting new.
I think that I love that perspective of like every day is a new day. Every time the sun sets and the sun rises, start fresh. Don't bring your yesterday into your today through this. Just be, every day is a fresh slate, and be open like a kid. I like what you were talking about, like kids. That kids, that's how they are. They're just in the moment, in the present, fully open to discovering whatever is going to happen. And that's why they discover all sorts of things. You take a kid out for a walk in the woods, it's hard to take 20 steps without having to stop and discover something, because they're so present and there's just so much to discover. And if you're already, either in the past or in the future, if you would have been in the future thinking about your appointment that's coming on, then you would have missed that present moment opportunity to stop and talk to the UPS guy, right? Because you would have been in. So the only reason you were able to take advantage of the opportunity was that you were present. You were centered and present. So you saw this as an opportunity. And life is bringing us opportunities all the time. It's just, are we connected enough, centered enough, in tuned enough with ourselves to be present and recognize them as that? Or are we stuck in the past or the future, running through life, not seeing all the bounty of gifts and opportunities that are right there all the time?
So we started being present. We're going to end with being present. and I say namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.